Hey guys, Courtney Adams here with Gather with Purpose podcast. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you are ready to dig in, fill up, and get going. All right, so let's jump right in. Confucius says, choose a job you love and you will never work a day in your life. You're probably wondering what in the heck I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to get there. But first, I want to remind you where you can find Gather with Purpose podcast and myself and the other things that I do in my everyday life. So first of all, Gather with Purpose podcast is here on YouTube. I also have a website, CourtneyNAdams.com. You can subscribe. It's free. I don't spam. Quite honestly, I don't do a whole lot with it. I do every now and again send out a blog post either about homeschooling or a topic at hand that a lot of people could relate to or that could really kind of challenge them in their thinking. You can also find me at mymaryandmartha.com/CAdams, CADAMS. I am a national leader with Mary and Martha Direct Sales Company, which is underneath Dayspring Corporation. In a world driven by culture, let's gather with purpose and focus on that which matters most. Join me each week for what's new, a different perspective, encouraging outreach, and what's real. This is not your everyday podcast. I will promise you this. I will show up to challenge you, encourage you, help you grow, and break free of culture. Let's gather with purpose. So for today, we are going to talk about direct sales and the direct sales industry. We probably all know at least one person in our life that is a part or has been a part of the direct sales industry. Over the past decade or so, direct sales has grown exponentially. It is considered part of the gig economy. If you don't know anything about the gig economy, I cannot recommend enough you to go and do just a little bit of research on it. It is incredibly fascinating. And after 2020, we saw one of the largest jumps in the gig economy that we have ever seen before. So let me just share a little bit on what the gig economy is. It is direct sales. It is also your businesses like Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and all of those delivery services that maybe haven't been around for more than 10 years. All of those types of businesses are a part of the gig economy. And a lot of people use their income from their gig to support certain bills in their household. It is a supplement to their 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. And really, before we dig in, I want us to think about for a minute just how far we have maybe come. And I don't mean that necessarily in such a positive manner. Back in the 50s, we had the wives that stayed at home, the husbands that went to work from 9 to 5, and they supplied and supported all of the income that was needed for that family. The mom was the one that stayed at home. She raised the kids. She took care of the home, and the husband went and worked. And I'm not saying that that was the right way to do it necessarily. However, what I am saying is that it was 100% feasible for more of the population than not. And in less than 50 years, it has now come completely opposite. And now, to have a spouse at home full-time with no income, that other spouse's income needs to be so large that it makes them a part of the population that is so minuscule that a lot of people cannot relate to that situation, right? So it has gone in the complete opposite direction. And really, it has taken the importance off of the family unit, right? So you don't have a spouse that's at home with the children the majority of the time, pouring into them, being the main influence, teaching them great life lessons, and having the focus be on the growth and the stability and flexibility of a family. Instead, now we have the need because of the way things have gone, and you can insert tons of different options here. I won't begin to share what that is. A lot of you guys already know what that looks like. But now we have it where both parents really need to work in some capacity just to pay the everyday bills and just to be able to make ends meet. Well, with the introduction of the gig economy about 2 decades ago, really the late 1990s, we now have a situation where not only do both parents need to work, essentially, but one of them, at least, needs to have an additional side hustle or side income, whichever you want to call it. And that is where this gig economy has come from. Now, the great thing with the gig economy is that it also has the ability to replace your 9 to 5. It also has the opportunity for you to be home more and to be more flexible with when you work and how you work and where you work and who you work with. You are more of your own boss. Not everybody has the opportunity or the skill set to start their own business, and that's okay. That's not the whole point of this. But what a gig allows somebody is the opportunity to grow their income, pay off debt, provide more for their family, and to also give them and their people more freedom. So 44% of gig workers say their main income is their gig economy income. That is a lot. That is a huge percentage of people that are relying on that gig economy as their main income. And a lot of times those gig economy jobs are 100% commission based, but they get to decide what that looks like. They put in more work. They essentially are going to make more money. If they need to take off a week for vacation or to focus on family, they can do that, but they do that knowing that that income might stop for that week. So they can plan ahead and prep their income for that. 57.3 million people freelance in the US. And by 2027, it's estimated to be 86.5 million. There's roughly about 330 million people in the United States. So in about 6 years, a quarter of the people in the United States, essentially, give or take, of course, are going to be benefiting from a gig economy type income. This is great news. And this is when you want to get in on this. You know, the talk right now is cryptocurrency and all these different options and getting in before it gets real high so that you can really benefit from it. And that is the idea of a gig economy opportunity, is getting in while you can and having the opportunity to be the one in your area that kind of shares that. Now, with that said, that doesn't mean that those companies and those opportunities that have been around for 1 or 2 decades don't have any value. They have enormous value. They have wonderful opportunities for you to share. Case in point, Mary and Martha. I am a national leader with Mary and Martha. I have been with them for a year. Mary and Martha is not new to the industry. They have been around for more than a decade, but we are small. As of today, we have less than 5,000 consultants. We are small, we are mighty, and we are focused on what we are doing. The focus has always been quality over quantity. And that's the case with a lot of direct sales companies. So let's talk about direct sales because it is the main source of a gig economy job. So you've got lots of different names that you're going to hear surrounding direct sales. One of them is MLM, pyramid scheme, direct sales. MLM and direct sales are essentially the same thing. You work for a company and you sell that company's product and you make a certain percentage or commission off of what you sell. You can also earn money by recruiting others. And they sell and you make a percentage of what they sell as well. A pyramid scheme, though, and this is not part of the Direct Sellers Association, you definitely want to stick with companies that are in the DSA. Those are ones that have met certain qualifications and requirements and so on and so forth. Pyramid schemes, there's no product or service that's necessarily being exchanged for money. It is truly a pyramid, and in some form or fashion, you've got a scheme going on. And we've seen a couple different companies that have been brought to light in the news that kind of resemble this. I don't need to name names. You can simply go and research them yourself. But examples of direct sales companies are going to be like mine. Mary and Martha is a direct sales company as well as an MLM. You can make commission from selling a company's product, and you can also make money from recruiting people and encouraging them to sell the product, and then you get a percentage of their sales. Now, why is this helpful? Why are these viable options? Great. I'm glad you had that thought. So let's go back to 2012. I'm going to tell you a little story. So in April of 2012, we had found out about a month before that my husband was going to be starting grad school at a Southern university here in Alabama. He was going to basically go back to school and start completely over. We had a under 1 and we had a 2-year-old. Okay. And we were going to be moving from our home state of Texas to Alabama. We knew nobody. We had no friends, no family. We didn't know a whole lot about what this was going to look like. I knew enough about where we were moving to because I had gone to college there. But this was 6 years later that I was going to be going back. I was now going to be going back with a husband and 2 kids. I didn't know what the family community looked like where we were moving. I knew what the college community looked like, but that wasn't what I wanted for my family. So in April of 2012, I was presented the opportunity to join a direct sales company. I'd never heard of direct sales. I had never heard of this company. I owned none of the products. I knew nobody that worked for this company or sold anything for them. I'd never been to a party. I'd never seen any of it. You see where this is going. I am completely clueless to what this looks like. I very strongly heard God tell me that this was what I needed to do to provide for my children and my family while my husband went back to grad school. Do you see how insane that sounds? Now, mindless to tell you, for the previous 4 months, I had been searching far and wide for a job that would pay me more than the cost of sending my 2 children to daycare so that somebody else could raise them during the day for about 10 hours. I could not find said job. I would find jobs that paid just enough to pay for them to go to daycare, but there would be no left over. So my thought was, well, what is the point? Well, enter the opportunity to sign up for a direct sales company. I did it, and I came home and asked for forgiveness instead of permission from my dear sweet husband. He laughed at me and said, I'm not real sure how you're going to do this. You don't exactly like peopling. He wasn't wrong. I am actually an introvert. I am not a huge extrovert. And so this was something that neither one of us knew how in the world I was going to make happen. But here I was. I signed up and I'm ready to jump all in because I knew that my husband needed to go back to school. We needed to have a fresh start as a family for lots of different reasons. And I needed to be the one to stay at home with my children. God very clearly made it known to me that I needed to be a stay-at-home mom. Okay. So I do this. I start this venture. I get a great network of people where I live. And then 3 months later, we move. Well, isn't that lovely? I now have to start this entire process all over. So we move in August and I am learning the area. I'm figuring out what family life looks like where we have moved to. I am trying to grow my business and network and connect. And I am realizing that I need to make this work a lot more than I thought it was going to need to be. I need to have an income that far surpasses what I thought it was going to be. Now, here's where the encouraging thing comes in. I am 100% in control of this. I get to decide what this looks like. I get to decide what my day-to-day work looks like. I get to decide where I produce income for my family. I get to decide the flexibility of it. I know exactly what needs to come in, and so I can hustle the first 2 weeks of the month and do the best I can and work as hard as I can. And then whatever is missing, I can make up for on that back end and work hard if I need to. I get to decide when we take vacation according to when my husband has off, and that I can buffer before and after so that we are okay. I'm not having to clock in and clock out according to when somebody expects me to be there. The only person that has expectations for myself is me and my family. That is a lot of pressure. And when you say it out loud, you realize exactly what it sounds like. However, it's also a lot of blessing. I get to decide what the day-to-day looks like. I get to decide what's needed and what isn't. I get to take out the fluff. I'm not just going in and doing busy work. I'm not just there for somebody else. I am truly working for me and my family. This is what direct sales can do for families. We have seen and we have met and we have known people that have done amazing things with their direct sales companies. And we watch them and go, that could never be me. Well, yeah, with an attitude like that, you're darn right it won't ever be you. But what if you looked at that and said, heck, I want that. If she can do that, I can do that too. And you went out and grabbed it. What would that look like? Is it going to happen overnight? No, it's not. Please hear me. It will not happen overnight. The first 2 years I was in direct sales, I worked harder than I've ever worked in my entire life. But you know what? It was completely worth it because I got to be at home. I got to provide while my husband went back to grad school. I got the opportunity to work so hard that I got us off of food stamps. Yes, we were on food stamps the first 2 years we lived in our new area. We needed to be. Otherwise, I didn't know how we were going to eat. I am not ashamed of using a part of the system that is there for situations like that. I've paid into the system. I used a piece of the system. I worked hard to get us off of the system so that somebody else could have the opportunity that is there in a system that is set up to work for just those type of situations. I've never worked harder those first 2 years. But you know what? I've also never felt more freedom and joy and blessing from a job than I have ever felt with working in direct sales. And I know direct sales can get a bad rap, and you see those people that don't necessarily know what they're doing, or they don't do it right, or sometimes it's a little bit cringe-worthy, right? Or we've gotten those messages where you go, that's not the way to go about that, honey. That's okay. That is not the norm. That is not what you see on the everyday. Yes, the everyday includes amazing freedom and flexibility and blessings and an income that you decide. It does also include trips that you have worked hard to earn, and you should be proud of them and share them from the rooftop and let people know that you and your team did this. It also includes bonuses and freebies and opportunities like never before. You know, we will share all day long when we have goodness from an 8 to 5, but we kind of shy back when it has to do with direct sales. Why? Direct sales is a viable source of income. It is a legitimate job. You bust tail to be where you are at. And people think that because you're working for a company and selling their product and earning a commission, it's not as viable. Well, then how do you explain somebody that goes into a retail business, works 8 to 5, clocks in and out, and sells that company's product and only makes a set amount of money each hour? They don't have the opportunity to produce more income. They have a cap. How is that more viable than me working in direct sales and not having a cap? This is the argument that fails every time. And this is where those of us that are in direct sales do not stand up and shout from the rooftops the amazingness that comes from being with a direct sales company. You can go and look at stats all day long, and I didn't pull any for you because you can literally go and type it in and see the benefits of direct sales and what it can do for families. Just some examples: paying off debt, going on vacations, blessing friends, family, and community, increasing income, networking, meeting new people. I cannot tell you how many amazing people I have met because of direct sales, and I know 100% I would never have met them otherwise. Giving back. You guys, direct sellers do a lot for your communities. They do a lot. They donate a lot of product. They give back a lot in funds. They show up. They're active. They share They have a huge network of people and they have an influence. They have a voice. Direct sellers are the epitome of influencers in a good way. We also know those direct sellers, like I've mentioned before, that are a little bit the type that maybe turns us off from it. And I'm here to remind you that that's not the norm. Those are probably new to direct sales. They don't feel that confident. They really don't know what to do. They haven't had the proper training. They are feeling really unsure. And the best thing that you can do for them is encourage them. That doesn't mean you have to buy what they sell. It doesn't mean you have to host with them or anything like that. But you can lend an encouraging, kind word to them. And I promise you that they will turn around in what they are putting out there. If I could go back and look at my original social media posts from when I first started direct sales, I would cringe, first of all. I would also feel obligated to go and apologize to the first people that I reached out to, because bless their hearts for encouraging me enough to book a party, buy my product, share my business, and to be a part of it. I can promise you guys that I was cringeworthy. Every direct seller when they first start has been that way. Nobody starts off at the top of their game. We all have to climb the same hills, and each one of ours looks a little bit different. And encouragement and kindness and support from those in our corner that care about us is the best way to help us climb that hill. So I hope that this has given you a new perspective on direct sales and just how amazing they truly are in today's society. They are the biggest part of our gig economy, and the gig economy is growing like no other economy is growing. In fact, the 8-to-5 economy is actually shrinking as the gig gets bigger and bigger. More and more people are realizing that life is too short to clock in and out from 8 to 5 for somebody else, and that our kids are growing faster than we would like them to, and we're missing out on those precious moments in life. And this affords the opportunity to provide an income, be present, have some flexibility, do those dream bucket list type things that we want to do. And that direct sales is a viable source of income, and that supporting them and shopping the product and sharing with friends and family and referring people to them and hosting a party to get free and half price items really makes a difference in your pocketbook and also your friends. There is nothing wrong with supporting them, and you don't have to do that through spending a dime. So I really hope that if you are listening, you have at least gained a little bit of a different perspective on direct sales and really the blessing that they are and what they can do for families all across our communities. And that, like we have talked about before, direct sales is a wonderful picture of gathering with purpose. You have such wonderful, like-minded and also different-minded people coming together with a common bond to grow their potential through doing something that is a part of an industry that's growing at a rapid rate. So if you know somebody in direct sales, I am going to encourage you to reach out to them today and just tell them that you see them and their hard work, and that you are praying for their success in their business. You are there to encourage them and give them a kind word and ask them how they can help you in your business. How can you help them? It doesn't have to be through buying. It can be simply sharing a group or a channel or a website or adding a friend to their business, whatever the case may be. There are so many non-monetary ways that you can help your direct sales friends, and I want to encourage and challenge you to do that over the next week or two. And then, of course, let us know how it goes. Let us know what you do to help that friend of yours. So thank you for joining us today. I hope you dug in, filled yourself up, and are ready to get going. Nothing gets done sitting around waiting for others to do it. So let's be the ones that do it. Get it done and do so boldly and authentically. The world needs more of that. Swim upstream in a waterfall culture. Of course, as always, to find us, you can do so on this Gather with Purpose podcast channel on YouTube, my website, CourtneyNAdams.com, And also my Mary and Martha site. I am a direct seller. I am a proud direct seller, have been for 9+ years. www.mymaryandmartha.com/C Adams, CADAMS. I am a national leader with them, have been for over a year. And I would love to connect with you on any of my platforms. Thanks so much for tuning in, Gathering with Purpose. Have a wonderful week.